Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Today's article has to do with a lot of information, and that comes from some opinion polls regarding the Americans' statements or answers at the question: Do you think that the United States will cease to be a democracy in the future? Well, the answer is yes, but we're gonna find the percentages here. So this poll comes from Yahoo News. Um, and this is by Andrew Romano, June 15th, 2022. Half of Americans now predict US may cease to be a democracy someday. Well, the way I see things going, that's been obvious for some time. And not only that, but other things are hijacked. And I'm talking about mass media, political system, donation, electoral system, and big companies. All these you put them together, and then you got the intelligence community, which seems to be uh, on a certain interest or parties' hands, or vice versa. The party is in the hands of that kind of interest with this kind of tools, including the military-industrial complex. So it's a maybe just a facade of a democracy that we, enjoy to a certain extent. And let's see, as I always mention, as Stalin, Joseph Stalin, the Gruzin, not the Russian, the Georgian, uh, Djugashvili, right? He said, let him vote. As long as we count the vote, we're good. So a new Yahoo News YouGov poll shows that most Democrats, 55%, the Republicans, 53%, now believe it is likely that America will cease to be a democracy in the future, a stunning expression of bipartisan despair about the direction of the country. Well, the thing is, they probably have different aspects, different reasons, justifications that got them to conclude that. Some of them is because of some of these guys because of that. They will not point to the same issue. And if this article points that, oh, it's because only that issue, then that means we are in trouble. That's all right. So let's see. Half of all Americans, 49%, express the same sentiment when independents and those who do not declare any political affiliation are factored in, while just a quarter, 25%, consider the end of the US democracy unlikely, and another quarter, 25%, say they are unsure. Uh, I'm not going to read this paragraph because it's propaganda here. In fact, the new study of 1,541 US adults, which was conducted from June 10th, the day after to June 13th, found that fewer than 1 in 4, so 24%, say, "Oh, I'm not going to watch. I'm not going to say this because they talk about something that it's a show on the TV right now, and I'm not watching that show. I'm not familiar with it, so I'm not going to comment on it." Um, He says the poll doesn't go quite that far, which was if the Americans simply gave up on democracy. But it does suggest that Americans have largely given up on each other. Yes, yes, that's divide and divide and conquer, right? Impera, divide and impera. Sorry. As usual, partnership is key to understanding what's happening here. All right, yeah. All right, let's see here. Oh, here we go. Fox News, Donald Trump, Republicans. I'm not going to read that because it has to do with a show on the TV. So again, talk about the committee. I'm going to read that again. The whole thing, the whole thing is not about really democracy. This article is about that thing that's on the TV right now, and they make something out of it. It's a committee, if you remember, and they started with the title, and now they go pointed to form our opinion that actually people agree that that's fantastic and this is not fantastic. And I don't like to have these guys tell me how the world is when I clearly see it outside. Uh, says here, when asked to choose the phrase that best describes most people on the other side of the political aisle from you, a majority of Republicans, the problem is we have Republicans and Democrats. We have two options. It's two parties with different names, but 98% is the same. One party has a mustache and the other party does not have a mustache. That's how you identify Republicans and Democrats. But in reality, they have the same parents. They're twins. One has mustache, the other one doesn't have a mustache. The parents are the donors, the parents are the interests, the parents are the military industrial complex, and the intelligence community. What do you want? And there's a democracy. Go and vote. So that's why a majority of Republicans picked extreme negatives such as out of touch with reality, 30% a threat to America, 25% immoral, 8% and a threat to me personally, 40%, 4%. A tiny fraction select more sympathetic phrase such as well-meaning, 4%, or not that different from me, 6%. The result among Democrats are nearly identical, with negatives such as out of touch with reality, 27%, a threat to America, 23%, immoral, 7%, and a threat to me personally, 4%, vastly outnumbering positives such as well-meaning, 7%, or not that different to me, 5%. It says, meanwhile, the number of Trump and Biden voters who say the other side is primarily a threat to America, 28% and 25% respectively, in double the number who say the other side is primarily wrong about policy, 14% and 13%. They did a good job. If you read it's a book I was talking before about, and I showed it here by Jacques Ellul, I think it was written in the 1960s, 62, 64, by a French guy, very intelligent, and the name of the book is Propaganda. He says that in these democracies with free speech, with freedom and all that, you will always have very small difference between, and he gives the example of the United States, where the differences are 2%, 1%. So the society is 48-52 or 49-51. It's never 30-70. Never tell me when it was the last time when it was 70-30 in the United States for a party and so on. I can't remember. And if it was when they could not handle and get it. So they're kept to this little thing. It's just, is that really like that? It could be really in a society, he asked this question, to be so evenly decided, evenly separated in 1%. Anyway, people think really like that, and there's no third option. That's interesting. There's no third option, and the third option is 0 point some percent. That means it's not there. Now again they talk about that thing. Talk about the capital. I'm not going to read about that because they are very keen to do that. And it says that a full 60% of Democrats and 61% of Republicans now believe America is becoming a less democratic country. Just 23% say the country is becoming more democratic. Wow. Republicans in particular are far more inclined to agree that America treated people like them fairly in the past, 71%, and today 36%, though more Democrats also say the former 50% than the latter 46%. A majority of Republicans, 52%, also say it's likely that there will be a civil war in the United States in their lifetime. Half, and I also agree with that. I mean, I'm on that side, just so you know. I think it's about years, not lifetime, or whatever. In the United States, in their lifetime, half of independents, 50%, and the plurality of Democrats, 46%, agree. In each group, fewer than 4 in 10 say another civil war is unlikely. And perhaps most unsettling of all, only about half of Americans are willing to rule out physical violence, 50%, and taking up arms against the government, which is in the Constitution. If the government becomes tyrannical, is the right of the citizens to, pick up arms and make it free again. It's in the Constitution, and Constitution in the Declaration of Independence, one of them, I can't remember right now. I mix them all the time with that thing. And 47% when asked if there are times when such measures would be justified in order to protect the country from radical extremists. About a quarter of Americans say that violence, 26%, and taking up arms, 23%, could be justified. And yeah. What can I say? These numbers don't show unity whatsoever. And, keep them fighting against each other, groups in a society, and you lead. Because if they would get along with one another, they might look at, oh, wait a second, who's that? But like this, they're concerned with the people next to them. It's an old trick and still working. And besides the idea, the mirage that you are educated because you went to college and you graduated, let's say, United States, which more than 30% of the population is college educated, doesn't mean that you know much. Per Jacques Ellul again with his propaganda, and the reason why is because they give you this mirage and they get you to the intellectual class and make you read exactly their newspapers. Like, oh, honey, I'm busy right now, I'm going to read New York Times because I'm an intellectual, and New York Times is exactly what gives you the information, forms your opinion. But he's an intellectual. But the person who's how do you call that, Wall Street Journal. My honey, I'm going to read Wall Street Journal right now, which I don't think, for instance, and no offense, other strata of the society will read that, only certain kind. And those certain kind will be more easier to be propagandized because they believe in that system. They believe in that outlet. Not all of them. I'm generalizing, and it's not me saying only that. And that's also now a personal observation, besides studies and other intellectuals saying that. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.